on the one hand, in terms of my age at least, I'm not the target audience for Dora the Explorer. But on the other hand, as somebody who likes to learn languages, I'm not very good at it, but I do enjoy it. I am the target audience, and my Spanish is terrible, basically non existent. So when I discovered the existence of Dora, Say Hola to Adventure, I thought I'd give it a go and see what it's like. And I have some thoughts. They're mostly positive, but there are a few things that I didn't necessarily love. But I do need to point out that I'm not the target audience, so the things that I didn't love might actually appeal to younger viewers. This was released in 2023. It's directed by Don Kim, and it's about 45 minutes in length. And I thought it was going to be one 45-minute story. It was released as a special, and I was looking forward to enjoying one continuous story, but actually it's not. It's several stories, and I didn't necessarily love that. But as I said, for the target audience, that actually might work quite well because younger viewers tend to have shorter attention spans. Admittedly, my attention span isn't great, but there's a reason why children's shows are often quite short. So that actually probably works well in the film's favour, but for me, it's not what I was hoping for. But nevertheless, we go through various stories with Dora and with the various other characters, and there are problems and obstacles along the way. I think the little stories are all very well written, very well developed. If the target audience likes those shorter stories, then I think they're very well crafted, and I don't actually have any complaints there. We also have some interaction, and this is something that I was aware of. I should point out that Dora, for me, isn't nostalgic. I was ever so slightly older than the target audience age when it first really became a big thing in the UK. I just had to Google it, and apparently it came out in 2000. I don't know if it came to the UK in 2000, but I was 8 years old at the time, and it definitely is a preschool show. Not that that ever has stopped me watching children's shows before, but the point there is that I didn't get any nostalgia from it, but I do have certain memories of things that happened in the classic series. And one of those things is going into the backpack for tools that will help them overcome various problems. And I really like that because it allows Dora to interact directly with the viewer. It allows the viewer to engage with what's happening. And I think that that's something that works really, really well. So that definitely gets my approval. And the animation style, had I never seen any of the classic series, because of course I've seen bits and pieces here and there, the animation for this, I probably would have thought, yeah, it's brilliant. Because it is actually a very good animation style. The colour palette is stunning. We have a lot of bright, bold colours, visually very engaging. But I have to say, I don't like it when classic shows go into this more contemporary animation style. I just feel like it's completely unnecessary. And that's something that I definitely feel here. So the style itself, not necessarily bad, but compared to the classic animation style, I just don't think it's anywhere near as sweet or as adorable. I think the classic Dora looks absolutely precious. Not so much the case here, so I don't mind it, but compared to the original, it's not as good. And then we come to the Spanish part. And there are some things that surprised me that I think didn't work very well, but there are some things that definitely did. However, I would love to know how effective Dora the Explorer is in teaching children Spanish. I did a quick Google search. I didn't find anything immediately helpful, but maybe if I did a little bit more research, I could find some stats. But for me, watching it, and I watched it to learn Spanish, there were some things that were definitely educational. And there were some things that, to me, are not the usual way to teach language. And I will give an example to show what I mean by that. So on the positive side, we have Dora and the others saying a word and then saying what it means. So one of these, and I apologize for my pronunciation, it's todos juntos. As I said, probably mispronouncing that, but it means working together or let's all work together. And we get a really good explanation of that. And Dora repeats it and asks the viewer to say it. That's a really brilliant way to learn language. However, there were a couple of other occasions where I don't think it was as effective. But this is, of course, me basing it purely on this one film, on this one special, I have no idea if the TV show is like this, but she said, bellissimo, great dancing. When you say a word in a language and then you immediately say a word after it in, as is this case, English, you're kind of saying the word I've just said means this. So when she says bellissimo, great dancing, it kind of sounds like she's implying bellissimo means great dancing, and it doesn't. And that's not a good way to teach language. Now, I'm not saying Dora the Explorer is not good at teaching Spanish. I assume it is because it's very successful. But little things like that, for me as an adult viewer, it's very jarring because literally every other language learning app, website, program, they say the foreign word, they say the English word. And when Dora does that, it doesn't make sense. So that part of it I didn't love. Now, thankfully, I know what bellissimo meant. So it's not like I watched it and thought, oh, I've just learned how to say great dancing in Spanish. But the point is, a young viewer or anybody might not know what that word means, and it wouldn't be unreasonable for them to jump to the conclusion that it means great dancing. So that is a point of criticism, but as I said, that is me purely judging this film on its own. I don't know if Dora is like that in general, and again, I'm sure it's very successful at teaching children Spanish, but at the same time, for me watching it as an adult viewer, looking to learn the language, I don't know how much I can trust it. But that being said, I'm not going to take everything Dora says on face value. For example, I did Google, and I'm going to try and pronounce it again, todos quiondos. I did actually Google it to confirm that what she was saying was correct, and it generally was. So if you're an adult viewer, you like animations, and you're looking to watch Dora to learn a little bit of Spanish, my advice would be just cross-check everything to make sure that it's correct. But if anybody has any thoughts on that, or if anybody has any insights into how well they've perhaps learned Spanish with Dora, I'd be really, really interested to find out. I'm not saying I'm going to go and binge watch Dora the Explorer episodes to learn Spanish, big fan of Duolingo, but at the same time, I wouldn't mind dipping in and out of it to enhance the very little of what I already know. So I don't know. If you think it's worth it, let me know. I might consider it. With regards to this film specifically, Say Hola to Adventure was not the one continuous story I'd expected, but at the same time, it's not bad. I think it would work well for the target audience. The animation style on its own is good, but comparatively not as cute as the classic style. And some of the Spanish words are very well explained, some of them not so much. So it's not terrible, it's not amazing. But Dora Say Hola to Adventure is pretty decent.